Hello everybody, I'm Christopher Campbell, and welcome to episode 2 of The Broken World, a real play Dungeons & Dragons campaign run by the GM Cellar, where the characters have no idea who they are, and will build both their backstories and the tale of this world through collaborative improv and storytelling. In episode 1, we saw our amnesiac characters awaken in a mysterious room filled with arcane crystals. We banded together and made our way through the caverns, unlocking some memories along the way, and ending in front of a mysterious door. Hopefully, on the other side lies the answers to our questions we're going to find out next on this episode of The Broken World.
On the other side of the door, I think all of you have enough of a passive perception that I can say there's a narrow hallway that is carved, that is intentionally made stone. You're still within a cavern system, but this has been kind of, the walls have been smoothed out, and there's a tile floor, actually, just plain stone slate tiles, but a tiled floor. And there's a couple wood benches in this chamber that looks like a kind of a long hallway. And a couple stone benches and some hooks on the wall that hold what look like, at a glance, remind you of the get-ups of like beekeepers, right? Kazzra, give me Arcana. There's some runes embroidered on these.
I rolled 11, so 16.
The runes on these robes, and you can see now that the get-up has a full headgear. There's gloves, there's boots. It appears to give an effect of sort of like shield. A protection from, and it seems to be shielding against arcane influence. So it seems to be shielding against magic.
I share this and recommend perhaps donning these. I grab a suit and I begin looking it over for anything. Like I flip it over and look inside, like, haha, inside's cursed. Nothing like that, but I mean.
No, but as you do, the runes glow wherever the suit is in proximity to that crystal shard.
Okay.
And you get the sense that it is definitely shielding from that specifically.
Copy that. All right. Well, in that case, put the shard down, put on a suit, and then pick up the shard and hold it, as opposed to have it inside the suit.
I thought when the shards were not in contact with sort of all the other shards that they stopped glowing. Is that?
They glow, it's up close, they glow a lot less. It seems to have an exponential effect around itself.
Okay, yeah, got it. Thank you.
I don a suit of protective gear.
How many suits are there?
2.
Okay.
I sort of hold my hands to the other one, like anybody. I don't say anything. It's sort of like,
I think I'd rather have full freedom of movement, but I'm not sure it'll fit wings, and I'm not sure it will fit 7-foot tall dragonborn.
Right.
It is like a beekeeper suit, so it's baggy, but it's not constricting.
I don't know that it's that baggy.
It's not giving me a dexterity negative or anything like that.
No.
I will put on the second suit.
You don't feel any different. No.
Is there anything else in this room?
There is nothing else in the room.
Okay.
Oh, it is lined with some sort of arcane lamps that they're not flame, they're just glowing. So it is lit.
The chamber is?
The chamber is lit, yes.
Are the lamps removable? Can we grab one and walk around with it? Or are they
They're
more
fixtures.
like
They're permanent
fixtures?
fixtures.
Fixtures, got it. Okay.
But it does seem to be lined down the hallway.
How used is this? Like you had mentioned, I think Pertinax had woken up with like some stone dust came off the wings, right? We've definitely been in this chamber where there hasn't been anyone sort of moving around and fussing about. It feels like, has anyone been here? Like, is the floor dusty? Is it, or does it feel like, yeah?
Roll investigation.
Lull. Nat 20, 19.
Woo.
All right. Don't forget your archetype point there.
I did not.
Yeah, great. This chamber and the door and the chamber beyond have been used much, much, much more recently.
Oh, okay.
As you kind of put the pieces together, you can tell that this door is opened somewhat frequently. There's no rock dust other than what has recently fallen on the stairs. Even in that cavern, in sort of the impacted earth and stone of the cavern, you now recall seeing kind of an indentation of what might be commonly traveled paths around that chamber that you do not recall seeing anywhere else.
I wanted to draw attention to the fact that there are wooden benches. So if this was like an ancient temple that is, hundreds and hundreds of years old, like
It was
the fact that there is wooden furniture in here indicates
Wooden furniture, there's
change.
cloth.
There's lit arcane lamps that probably still need some servicing or things like that. So yeah, it's definitely a change from ancient decrepit where we were to something a little bit more modern that just clicks in Kazzra's head immediately.
You will also notice that this you'll notice that the fabric of the suits is much fresher, for want of a better word, than the simple linen clothes that you were in, which are a little bit grayed with time. You will clock that the equipment was smashed recently and it's by the quake activity that is sort of happening. Even now, there's some rumbles and things that you're kind of having to brace yourself on the wall. Nothing I'm going to make you roll for, but you kind of brace yourself on the wall. And you will recall on that nat 20, the way that you entered that cavern was so squirrely and kind of difficult in the way you pushed yourself in, that you think that might be a recent opening.
Okay. I was wondering, where does the
no signs of
frequently
activity beyond that cavern with the lake?
Did we? But when we left where we woke up, that was clearly the egress point from that area. So it was designed intentionally, but maybe the opening was exposed by some of the seismic activity, as well as whatever else happened in the chamber. If I have that right. Great. Good to know. And so I shared this information with the rest of the group.
We can infer that these were adjacent but disconnected chamber networks until seismic activity linked them by some happenstance.
How long do you think we were down there?
That's a good question.
On that nat 20, there's really no way of telling. But the mortar between those stones on that bricked up entrance to that temple, it was dry and crumbly and old, and that mimic had been dead for a while.
I suppose no way of telling from the age of the fabric, so...
There were preservation spells on those sarcophagus. So.
Right.
He takes a second to point out that essentially it was also unguarded except for obscurity and maybe a mimic, right? That there were no traps, there was no security. Like there's this ancient arcane device, which like Jaxiron is not my strength. But there were no functioning magical traps. That is interesting.
I think we may have been down there a very long time, long enough that we were forgotten about.
Yeah. Well said.
I would like everybody to take a moment here now that you are in a fuller light. So we'll say before you put on these suits, the two of you. I'd like to have everybody take a moment to really describe what their character looks like. Obviously, clothing, you're all wearing largely the same thing. But physically, what do your characters look like? And let's start with Kazzra, because you're first up on my screen.
Sure. Kazzra is very tall and very thin. When I say very tall, considering we have a 7-foot tall dragonborn, maybe medium tall, considering the group. Standing a little over 6 feet tall, probably weighs 120 pounds. So we're talking rail thin. wrapped head to toe in ceremonial bandages and mummy wrappings. It does not smell of death, but smells mostly of fragrant spices, stale though they are. You can see no flesh or hair or anything on Kazzra's body. The real discerning mark is Kazzra's mask, which is a mask that covers the entirety of the face and wraps around a good portion of the head as well. Brutalist and angular in its depiction of a face, and the face that it depicts is one that appears to be human. It is made of a bronze or coppery metal with bits of sort of a green verdigris patina in spots. It has different carvings and runes across it that are faded, and some of them also have grown green from patina. The mouth and the entire face is very just stoic and flat. It is not grimacing or showing any emotion at all. The eyes attract most attention since they are brightly glowing, just a turquoise light, and you wouldn't know there's anything behind there if you hadn't seen Kazzra actually scoop up water and pour them into the eye holes. There are times in which Kazzra's been looking at things, you've noticed the light dim to almost just a soft ember glow, and then when attention is back on something else, they brighten up again when he looks around the room. So clearly able to adjust that coloring, able to adjust the how vibrant, how strong that light is. Kazzra just moves with a lot of intent and purpose and almost glides across the room as he walks with sort of a slightly unnatural grace.
Jaxiron.
So Jaxiron, as noted before, is over 7 feet tall. He stands, his stature has an enormity that makes him look imposing even when he is otherwise not, necessarily trying to be. Just by his nature and by his build, he comes off as an imposing figure. He is muscular. He has this physique about him. He's middle-aged. The scales on their on their body are starting to tarnish slightly, but they do retain sort of the natural glint of the brass heritage that they bear. The scales on top of their head are almost like a stacked set of plates that seem to, if viewed directly from the front, give him almost a crown like silhouette atop his head. Along their jawline, there are 4 small tentacles, for lack of a better word, that have little ringlets of stone around them, just decorative elements, some jade or marble. Carefully spoken, and the eyes also turquoise, but it is attention grabbing, but it lends nothing to his visage as far as being visually attractive or appealing. It's more just like, it's the kind of thing where you look at it and you almost can't help but stare a little bit, just because they're so striking for a dragonborn.
Great. And we'll move to Pertinax.
Pertinax is a tiefling, a little on the small side for a tiefling, not tiny or anything, but first off is quite thin, not quite unhealthy, but almost, and probably has not stood up straight at this point yet at all, even when there has been space to do so. He walks a little hunched over, he'll kind of crouch down. If he's standing still, he likes to be closer to the ground, which is strange because he has wings. It's got dark purple skin. His arms, legs, even on his tail a little bit, have those inky tendrils, look like some kind of magical scarring. He's got some sort of more, mundane scars also on his arms. And the silver mask to cover up probably even worse scarring. Horns, which are kind of the big curly ram horn style, a little dinged here and there, nicks and chips. This is somebody who's been knocked around a little bit somewhere along the way. He's got black hair, kind of comes down to his shoulders. He's got a little beads and bones and things kind of woven into it, braided in here and there. Doesn't particularly look, not going to say, oh, his hair is gross, but he could probably stand to wash it at this point. His eyes are different colors. One is lighter, one is darker. They change colors a little bit, but one is always lighter than the other. And long tail and big kind of bat wings. I think that's my ears. He's got, sort of the pointed ears, and he's got a bunch of silver earrings in both of them, kind of not in matching places. Not, they're not symmetrical.
Everything will be all right. What do you look like?
Young man, probably young human male, looks probably in his late teens, early 20s, so like 1920, thereabouts. Tall-ish, but closer to Kazzra's physique than Jaxie's. Has sort of a lean, wiry strength to him, he looks very physically confident, I guess is a good way to describe it. Not necessarily the strongest, but looks like he has been and carries himself as though he has been sort of very well trained in how he should be physically existing in the space. He has short blonde hair and sort of a Roman style cut, just sort of forward and fairly short, but a little choppy at the edges. Has sort of almost the tan of someone who spends a lot of time outside, so almost a surfer's tan. And from what you can see, there's no like tan lines or anything like that. So definitely has spent a lot of time outdoors, but maybe not necessarily in a working context. At least not like working in a laboring sense of the word. He has very piercing eyes, sort of almost a goldenish color to them, which is fairly unusual on humans. Not purple unusual, but unusual. And they're very sort of almost, they're very striking in their own way. Looks like in some ways similar to Pertinax. Looks like he doesn't necessarily have scarring, but looks like he has taken his fair shot of hits over the years. Looks like he can, despite his sort of wiry physique, can very clearly take some amount of punishment, and looks like he exists in the space very competently, and comes across as someone who is sort of very present in the moment. His eyes don't just sort of wander around idly. He's always sort of absorbing and sort of taking stock of the situation, which leads him a certain not wariness, but confidence in how he carries himself.
So you all get a real proper look at each other for the first time. That's not in low light. Also, as the hall is lit, you see that there's not a door on the other end, but it does kind of curve. It also slants upward a little bit.
Someone had mentioned traps earlier, so Kazzra, just being the cautious one, stops and looks down at tiled floors. Looks to see if any of them are strange or out of place.
Investigation?
14.
Nope. Just seems like tile.
So the floor in here is slanted up away from the lead door?
Yes.
I look to the Dragonborn and to everything. Motion with my hand after you.
Jaxiron will not hesitate to take the front.
I'm wearing the protective suit. I'm also happy to take the lead, but also not going to try to move Jaxie out of the way from doing so.
Jaxiron does it more out of a sense of fearlessness than of being like, yes, clearly I'm the protector here.
Got it. That tracks.
You are also the biggest one, so
right.
So you move forward. It's a long hallway that kind of not quite it's not quite a switchback, but it curves here and there, but it is slowly taking you upwards. And after a few minutes walk, it opens up, and beyond, you walk into a very large, intentionally made chamber. And this chamber, I'm going to describe for you what everyone sees as you come in. There is, it's huge, but it is a smooth, polished stone floor. And there's above you, there's sort of a smoothed out, still somewhat rough, but smoothed out ceiling. And you see this room appears as you walk in. You can tell that the wall that you emerge from in this doorway that opens up is flat, and the far wall curves. So the entire chamber appears to be a half moon in shape. On the far wall, on that curving wall, there is a massive half dome, half moon shaped window, beyond which you see there's some iron sort of support bars and things like that, and beyond which you see waves of water cascading down. You see there's mirrors set up throughout the chamber that reflect this silvery light that comes in through the window, through the water. And additionally, there's illumination provided by floating arcane orbs. Kazzra has a moment where he reaches up and just kind of automatically beckons for one, and it will float over. They're on a sort of, it's like a clap on, clap off, but you beckon it over to where you want more light. That's just an arcane thing that wizards do. In the center of the room is where your attention is sort of dominated, because in the center of the room, you can see from the glow there is a very large cluster of those crystals. Their glow is brighter, not as bright as it was in the cavern, but brighter than that simple small shard that Kazzra has. This crystal cluster is encased within a clear, heavy, arcane shield sphere that levitates above a smooth, dark stone platform. The platform seems there to hold the sphere in place. Around the outside of the sphere are bronze rings and carved with various different runes and sigils. And above the sphere is, as you look up to the ceiling, there is a very large rotating orrery. A physical clockwork arcane map of a star system. And around in this chamber, there are various desks, bookcases. None of this furniture seems to particularly match. It seems to just be whatever was hauled in over time. There's various styles of chairs. Nothing, again, seems to match in terms of style, make, whatnot. There are tables strewn with papers and maps, and there are pots of herbs and things of open books. There's things on tables and desks that have been knocked over. It seems to be there does not appear to be anyone within this chamber that you can see. Again, I'm going to need everybody to make a dexterity save for me.
12.
Also
Nat 20.
12.
You got a nat 20, Hex?
Mm-hmm.
Great. Mark down here. Great. So I think Hex notices, everybody else is sort of kind of battered around a bit, but Hex notices as the last earthquake wave rolls through, you notice two things. One, that the crystal cluster glows slightly brighter in response to that earthquake.
After it happens?
As it happens, it glows. And a couple of the arcane runes light up. And You will also notice there's a sound. This is not just earthquakes. There are explosions. So we are in this lab. There does not appear to be anyone else present save for you. What would you like to do?
Well, you said there's a whole bunch of books and scrolls and stuff around.
Mhm.
Do I see anything that I could use to, I don't know, create like a makeshift sack, haversack, backpack, anything to hold them in?
Yeah, absolutely. There's definitely some leather satchels. A fairly nice make around. Everything from rucksacks to, very stylish messenger style bags. There's
All
scroll cases. There's all sorts of stuff.
I go and I grab a couple of those satchels, and I start flipping through tomes and scrolls. And if they have writing in them and aren't just, blanks with maybe 1 or 2 pages of notes, if they are full or mostly full, then I grab them. I don't know how much time we have, so if I can look at them a little bit, I will, but
Yeah.
there's the sounds of explosions going on. I try to grab quick.
We're going to get back to you in a moment, but very quickly I'm going to say that as you look to ascertain whether things that are written in or blank, you will... you feel a sort of like wash of that connectivity that you remember. Sorry. You feel a wash of that connectivity that you recall from your memory take hold. And you realize for a moment that you haven't actually felt it. Like you felt it a bit in the caverns below when you were closest to the crystals. But it's been nowhere near what it felt like in your memory. But for a moment you feel a wash of that connectivity come through, and the letters on the page go from being unfamiliar to familiar. And we're going to come back to you in a moment. So I want to know, Jaxiron and Pertinax and Will, are you looking for anything? What are you doing this moment? Let's start with Jaxiron.
So you said this is a library or a laboratory, right?
Correct.
Seeing that Kazzra is busy collecting or working on the tomes and scrolls and whatnot, I'm less concerned with that. Though the immediate need to recover or find knowledge is certainly the first thought that runs through his head. What happened here recently? Like you said that this stuff is scattered and we can hear explosions and whatnot. So piecing together, some of what I already know, I think he's looking and seeing, like, is this, did they bug out, right? Is this they left in a hurry? They abandoned, like, why is this abandoned now?
Go ahead and give me perception. Give me perception and also to see what you see, and then give me insight to make sense of it.
Perception is a 21. Insight is perception is 22. Insight is a 18.
You get the sense just from you have a particularly heightened sense of smell being a dragonborn. That's just a little bit different from humans and other races, and there's sort of sense you can almost taste on the air of someone recently had food in here. You can see there's some crumbs on one of the desktops of you can see a plate with like essentially like a slice of bread, some mustard, and like a good hunk of like cheese on it that has a bite taken out of it that was just abandoned. There's cups of drinks, and there's one particular mug you can still see a little bit of steam coming out of. So whoever left just left. And you also perceive that the explosions and sounds, you can also hear shouting. There seems to be a conflict. But you can also hear that the conflict is sort of dying down. The explosions are happening less frequently. The chamber's not rattling as much. Whatever earthquake type effect was happening is petering out. The sounds are still distant, that they're at least several chambers away, if not exterior, and seem to be coming from different distances. You definitely hear clashing, some pings that you can pick up as metal clashing. So whoever left here left because they were being attacked. And we're rushing to deal with whatever this situation is. Pertinax, are you looking for anything in particular this moment?
I think trying to find out about what is this place? Who are the people here? I think if there's anything that I'm going to be drawn to, anything that Pertinax will be particularly interested in as far as books or information here, it would be because this has appeared that at some point it maybe is or was, or there was a temple of some kind here, so I'm probably looking for anything about religion would be something that he would be interested in, but also just sort of generally not even so much why were we here, or who put us here, but who's here now, maybe even.
Great. Roll me investigation. And while you're doing that, I'll get back to that. Will, is there anything that you were looking for particularly?
Yeah, so this is a arcane laboratory of some sort, right? That is not my area. So I'm very curious what in this room is a little neglected, maybe, right? Are there storage trunks? Are there things that are not of general interest for the occupants? I'm thinking maybe that there is some sort of like, what sort of like been stowed here, but maybe is not particularly useful to the occupants. Maybe they've forgotten that it's here.
Give me insight.
Always hilarious. Oh, 13. Not bad.
What was your investigation roll, Hex?
It was natural 20.
Oh.
Heck yeah. So we'll get back to you in a moment.
Mm-hmm.
Hex. Pertinax just happens to be by what looks like the largest of the desks. It screams professor of a classroom, right? This is the teacher's desk. This is the head researcher's desk, very obviously. You notice there's the ink blotter is essentially a map. And that is a regional map, which we will get to in a moment. There's not only notes, research notes, very good research notes, but also personal journal, various things. The research notes and everything are not encoded. Interestingly, you have the same moment that Kazzra had, where the letters seem to rearrange themselves in a way that makes sense to you. What you understand from flipping through this book, as you take a few minutes to do so, is all of the names of people mentioned do use code names. So they're all a mineral of some variety. There's a granite that seems to be the head researcher. There's a sapphire. There's, an emerald. There's this. People are just done by rock names that are very clearly code names. Because you see in one little entry, there's one where Granite, whose journal this appears to be, is making fun of someone's name. How he is definitely not a diamond. Okay. And so you get that they're code names. You get that there's some level of secrecy to this lab, but not within the lab itself. There's a sense of this place is secure because it is unknown. We are here in secret. They are studying the crystals with the goal of experimenting with strengthening or enchanting something called Serenite silver. The mining and refining of this silver is the backbone for a place that is referred to as Silver City. They're trying to understand the magical effects of it. The second thing you really pick up off here about the crystals is they are incredibly toxic. They often cause deformations in any life that spends proximity to them. It is, in player terms, these are the no-no rocks. These are very radioactive.
I'm going to relay that information as soon as I come across it to everyone else.
What is interesting here, though? Now, this nat 20, I'm going to give you this. You basically come across a page that is describing all of the effects that these crystals have had on people of various different lineages. From Dragonborn to Kobold to Gnome to everyone. And the time frames, it's a very well documented list of these effects and notes on how to avoid it. You all should be really sick right now. You should have some bleeding eyes. You should have pus coming out your ears. It has effect on undead as well. That just starts to, undead tend to randomly start spawning mushrooms and plants. Tend to start decaying. And none of that is happening for you. You're fine. In fact, you recall the closer to the crystals you were, you felt better. That haziness and that weakness that happened when you woke up seemed to lift in proximity to the crystals. It's not that you feel worse now that you're not next to the crystals, but they seem to almost speed up a recovery. So as you relay this, you get the sense that honestly, Kazzra and Will probably don't actually need those suits. There is something different about you four. And Will, I'm going to get back to the group in a moment, but Will, I want to go to your investigation or insight.
Mm-hmm.
What is neglected? There is on that same desk, there is a pile of correspondence. This correspondence is in code, but it is neglected. It's very much just you can tell that the hand in increasing messages grows a little sloppier, grows a little as though somebody writing it is getting increasingly annoyed. And you can tell that there's just things are put on top of this pile of papers. The person whose desk this is just can't deal with this right now.
Mm-hmm.
There's some outside context, I am doing real research that matters here and someone else is up my butt about something and I don't want to deal with it. There's bins that you can identify full of various herbs, various items that one would probably recognize as, they're actually clearly labeled as spellcasting components. There's a very organized cabinet of spellcasting components.
Mm-hmm.
You'll notice that a lot of the components for healing spells are kind of neglected. It doesn't really happen, although they are missing a sort of the supplies you would associate with treating sickness and nausea. Mm-hmm. And things like that. So things that kind of track with what Pertinax is reading off of this list of side effects of these crystals. That some people who accidentally got too close for too long or didn't, close the door downstairs the right way, or they didn't get the lead lining quite right, or they took their glove off for a minute in the cavern, treating those lighter symptoms.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. I do point out the spell component drawer. I know that Kazzra had been asking about spell components earlier. I point out, if you needed spell components,
yeah,
that will cause me to stop my book shoving and immediately look and
you go rifle through the spell components.
Alter my focus towards that.
Yes.
And we switch off.
You will if the players want to look at Roll20, there is a regional map that you are on.
Do we know where on this regional map we are?
There is a little pencil mark that if you follow the upper Els River, you see a little waterfall.
Mm-hmm.
You can see that there's along the line of the Torm River and the upper Els River, there's a cliff face, essentially. And this is the waterfall in the upper Els River is marked, has a little like faint pencil mark.
Well, there you go.
So as you know,
we are.
You are underground, and there's also some light pencil sketches around on the top part of the upper Els River, where you can see there's some hills and stuff on the map that there's some like drawn, erased, redrawn circles trying to determine the extent of the cavern system. But the cavern system seems to run from these cliffs kind of underneath the upper Els River.
Do you share this information? You're just looking. The only person who's currently looking at this map and getting this idea is Will, right? None of us.
Will and Pertinax are.
Okay.
Will, you also find on the wall, you will find a world map.
Aha.
So that you can understand where you are in relation to the world. So that regional map that's on the desk is of a place called the Ellis Lowlands.
Mm-hmm.
Pertinax, you can look up at the wall as well and kind of see this, and this is also not really a map that is, it's just kind of like, it's a map that's on the wall because they felt like they should have a map. There's a place called Silver City, which you recalled reading about, and the Serenite Silver, there's a mountain range labeled the Serenite Mountains, or labeled the Seren Mountains.
Seren Mountains, yeah.
But this regional map seems to be of the Ellis Lowlands specifically, and not Silver City or the Seren Mountains. The world map is engraved on wood and on the wall. It's a very, very big, very heavy thing. The regional map is tucked into an ink blotter and is on parchment and is much easier to roll up and take if you are so inclined.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and grab the map and grab a nearby backpack, dump the contents out, and then put the map in it.
Okay. I need everybody to roll me perception.
Lol. Yeah. 2.
18.
10.
Sometime I'm going to actually talk to somebody and use a skill that I actually have training in, and it's going to be fucking amazing.
What'd you say?
6.
6. Okay. And then next, what was yours?
10.
10. You all are busy surveying what you're surveying and looking for things. Kazzra, the door is opening. There's a door on the far wall, and it is opening.
I'm going to cast a Mage Hand. I'm going to blow some wind just kind of across one of the desks, getting everybody to look in the direction of the opening door, kind of draw attention with a little bit of a whoosh. So sounds something natural sounding that isn't me going, "Hey, everyone," and then pointing.
Yeah.
Also, sort of almost on instinct, I cast Blade Ward, and just sort of ready myself for whatever is about to happen.
Kazzra, you will also notice that the sounds have largely died down. All right. The door creaks open cautiously, and around a head kind of pokes around. It is a... it takes you all a moment to notice the head, because it's not at what you consider head level. It's down here. A gnomish head pokes around, like very rounded, cute features, pointed ears, the sort of creamy brown skin, a big halo of curls. And the curls are dark at the root and sort of lighten, and then in the tips are all sorts of different colors. And these big brown eyes look at you, blink twice, and go, shit hot.
Okay.
Notably, this figure has not taken any action. Hands curl around the doors. Again, nails in all sorts of different colors to match the tips of hair. Pushes he's like, easy, easy, easy. I have enough blood on my ropes. Kind of creaks the door open, and behind the gnome stands a human in kind of wearing a breastplate, kind of, again, kind of similar button features, actually, although they're not related, but very button nose, very attractive feminine features. Has this sort of short cropped, rich brown hair, skin that is sort of a lighter, somewhere between tan and pale. Has not particularly look like they've been out in the sun, but looks like if they were out in the sun, they would have a really nice, rich tan to their skin. Actually kind of looks a little unhealthily pale for their skin tone. Bright, kind of blue eyes. Weapon is not drawn. You can see they have a sword belt on and have a shield. Not on their back, actually. The shield will be on their arm, kind of ready to kind of shield the gnome, and in fact is kind of moving to shield the gnome. He goes, quickly you can see the eyes clock that none of you really are carrying weapons other than a piece of rock. And goes, and then also sees the two that don't have the
suits on. Yeah.
on the magic hazmat suits, clock that what they're wearing, what they look like, and goes, the hell?
Hold up hands in peace and sort of kind of, I guess, unzip and pull back the helmet, I suppose, of the suit, just showing that I'm also wearing the same clothes that they are. Simple inquiry. Where are we?
They both...
Remember, I haven't seen the map. I have no idea. So
Right. They both cock their head at the exact same angle. Trade glances, look up and go, what?
Look around, like wondering, like, was it not clear? The physical location in world map geography, where, in general, are we? I noticed that there is a giant map on the wall, and I kind of point at it, walk over to it slowly, and start pointing my finger up and down like hot or cold.
They turn another glance, and the fighter just kind of stays at the door cautiously. The gnome moves in and goes, kind of also holds up her hands gently, like she's dealing with wild animals. And which, looking at the lot of you, is not far off. Because we're okay. Why, you don't know where you are? How
do I recognize these words, Ellis Lowlands? Yep. Have I seen this world before? Does anything that spark any kind of memory about these land masses on this wall?
Doesn't seem quite right.
Okay.
When is this? When are we? I'm asking them.
I let out a heavy sigh and I just sit down in a nearby chair.
The gnome looks back over her shoulder and goes, oh boy, they were into more shit than we thought. Okay, when? Okay, it's...
What year is it?
Okay, it is 568. Post-chasm.
Does any of this mean anything?
None of that means anything to you.
Just still like...
When this is being said, Kazzra will finally look over and realize that I'm in a laboratory. I will grab paper and a quill, then I will start writing things down.
Yeah, come in.
You do notice that the paper and ink are both of spell scribing quality.
I take more of it than I need.
I ask what year is it using whatever calendar system I would have been familiar with. So the equivalent of like me saying AD. What would that be in?
Yeah.
You tell me. Do I know even what that would be? Maybe I don't.
The gnome kind of scratches her head and is like, I'm not familiar with that. Okay, hold on. I did really bad in this class. But that sounds like a weird system that might use pre-cataclysm accounting? I don't know.
This is an important note. Do I recognize Will's years?
You do.
Okay.
That's actually a really good question. Were we put in there at the same time or different times?
Right. Or were we even from the same world?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So, okay.
Yeah, you do it. You don't know if that the time that Will mentions is like would be the last sort of time that you remember, but the calendar is very familiar to you.
Yeah. Will sort of like that was sort of like, that's all of this, like, we don't know when we are, we don't know when, like, all of this is just rolling over him. He's the duck on the water through all of this.
You do notice on that desk there is also a calendar that has months on it and things like, it's like a planner. You know, this wizard is going to get their life together every year, and this planner is going to be the one that gets their life together. It's got all the months in it.
Trying out bullet journaling.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just saying they're trying out bullet journaling for the first time.
Yeah, basically, yes.
Yeah.
Before the invention of bullets too. So
the months are the manner of reckoning is familiar. Notably, what is important about these names of months is that they're slightly different than what you remember, but there is a root in each word that is from a language that you all instinctively know.
Yeah.
It would be like recognizing the Latin root of a word.
Are we all speaking the same language, these two new arrivals? Do they have different accents than we do? Do we sound old-timey to them?
You are speaking the same language, but not it. When they spoke, you all felt that same sort of twist of power, of connection.
Mm-hmm.
And you get the idea that you are now speaking a language that is different from what you were speaking to each other in the caverns below.
Can I just really...
Similar.
Yeah.
But slightly different.
I stand up and sort of brush off and sort of remove the suit, since I see they're not wearing it. So I fold it up and I place it on the chair. How about you ask one, we ask one?
The gnome kind of pulls out a chair from the table, kind of sits down and goes, Yeah, I think we have some time. Yeah? And kind of glances towards the fighter in the door, and the fighter in the door is just kind of like leaning on the door jamb now with head tilted going, yeah.
While this is happening, Will is keeping an eye on that guy. Like, just not overtly, not aggressively, but just like, he is aware that guy might be the biggest threat in the room that has thus far not shown himself to be an ally. So we're just gonna keep tabs on him
as the only one with a weapon.
yeah, with a real big boy weapon. Yeah,
the fighter in the doorway is both the fighter and the gnome are very feminine presenting.
Sure.
Actually, the gnome looks around between and goes, "Okay, so let's start with names. How about I tell you our names, and you tell us yours? So I'm Jessamine Cairnworthy, and this is my friend. This is Bronwyn." And Bronwyn in the doorway kind of runs a hand through her hair and says, "Bronwyn Glenbowen. She's a rock now."
Is Bronwyn human?
Yes,
or no?
Bronwyn is human.
Okay. I give sort of a almost a salute and just
she's absolutely, you get the sense that she's absolutely clocked your military stance and training.
Yes. Everything will be all right.
Oh, okay.
That is the human's name.
Oh.
Yes, that was my... Yes, that's... Yes.
Okay. I guess it's kind of like, I don't know, naming your daughter Prudence?
No.
Okay.
I am Kazzra the Persistent. As I'm saying this, by the way, as I'm talking, I have turned my attention partially. I will turn to address and speak, but I'm still going through the spell components and picking things up and putting them in the bag and finding things that spark memory of this could be useful.
You see the gnome kind of like folds arms and like watches this with a very amused expression and goes, "Yeah, you're a wizard, huh?"
I turn and go, "Yes," and then turn back around.
Oh, that hasn't changed, I
And I
suppose.
shrug, or I assume so.
Pertinax. Not a wizard.
I turn around and I point at Pertinax and I give a nod, like confirming what Pertinax has said.
Notably at this point, so, Jaxiron's been looking around at the different piles of things and assessing the, like, why did everyone leave so quickly? And since everyone's been focused on this conversation, has turned their attention away from him, he has walked up next to the table, in spite of his stature, completely silently. And just just his voice booming is just, introduces himself cordially, but is also like unaware of the fact that him doing this as quiet as he did might startle people. As Jaxiron Thesekar.
Oh. Hi. Wow, you're big.
So they
The
say.
fighter just still remains in the doorway, Bronwyn. She folds her arms and is just watching everything with a very keen eye. She's actually incredibly perceptive. So she's just gonna keep an eye. The gnome goes, "What? Hi." Yeah. Ooh, you're real big. Wow. Sorry. I don't know if that's offensive for Dragonborns. I'm gonna ask a question. And again, I don't know if this is offensive, but I'm gonna ask it anyway. You just hear like a heavy sigh from the doorway. Jessamine leans forward and goes, "Are you all alive? Like in your first life?" And she looks very directly at Kazzra.
I stop for a moment, look, I pull apart some bandages, and I stick a finger, like, it goes almost all the way up to the knuckle, and I pull it out, and I kind of look at it, and I turn back, and I just shake my head no, and I go back to picking out spell components.
Just that one, though.
Oh,
I do the same thing and go tuk, 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 tuk.
right. Are there other undead here? We didn't see any. Do we need to...
Mostly dead. Mostly dead.
Mostly... Okay. Is that something the collective was doing here?
Who?
What? What's the collective?
Oh, boy.
Oh, good. I stop, sit down, and go back to the notes that I'd started, and I write the collective and start putting little dashes for things that are going to be said.
Is that the group that was looking for the silver? I just know I've been reading the books down here.
Jasmine kind of looks like, did I put my foot in it? Did I say too much? And she looks over her shoulder at Bronwyn, and Bronwyn adjusts her stance and says, the collective are the people who ran this facility. We know it's a group of, at least here, mages and some hired mercenary guards. They're a very shadowy group. My brother can tell you more if he deems you trustworthy enough, but they're not good people. They're prone to experimentation. They don't really let ethics get in their way.
You say they were the people who ran this lab.
Yes.
Is that what the commotion was outside?
Oh, you heard all that.
We heard some of it. The sound of steel and steel is distinctive.
Isn't it great?
So this is not your work that we see on this table?
No.
Oh, good. Well, then I don't have to
anything.
ask you if I can take any of this stuff, and I keep taking more of the spell components.
She kind of chuckles in that way of like, she is familiar with wizards. And then says, take what you like. We'll be taking things ourselves. We'll be taking supplies. We'll be taking any spell components for our casters. We'll be taking any information, anything you grab. I will ask you kindly that you share with our group, and in turn, we will escort you safely from this place, figure out what is happening with you in a place where we can maybe get you some warmer clothing, some food, potions, question mark? Like kind of like looks at Kazzra, goes, food? Get you some supplies and get you whatever's happening here. It does not appear that you are part of the collective.
Yes, I wave off food. I give a thumbs up to potions and other such things. And then after Jasmine has said this, I would like to insight the safely get us out of here. See if there's just sort of...
That all was said by Bronwyn.
Okay, then Bronwyn.
Yeah, go ahead. Insight check.
Okay. I'm pretty good at insight. 14.
Seems completely above board. Is cautious, but does not view any of you, views you as unknowns. So threats in the sense of these are unknowns in front of me, but not threats in that these are my enemies. Yeah, so you are being viewed as mild potential threats because of the unknown quality, but you are not being viewed as active threats, as in these are my enemies. Bronwyn kind of shifts a bit and looks at you all again and says, look, I'm not saying I trust you or that you have to trust me, but I am saying I have seen enough of the collective's work to not be surprised if we just walked in and found a few test subjects. So I say we get somewhere a little more comfortable.
I would also
speak to my brother.
Sorry. Have you already been down the passageway down to the door and into the geode chamber, potentially past that? Does this ring a bell at all?
Past that? We only know of the research lab around the source cavern.
Yes. We came from past the source cavern. So you're familiar with the source cavern. You haven't been into the source cavern, yes?
Well, no, I don't have a death wish.
I draw, since I have paper, as everything is saying this, I sketch a crude map from memory. We haven't been through too many chambers. The memory's still probably pretty fresh. I just sketch one out and I hand it to Jessamine.
Give me a performance.
Along with the suit performance. 11.
It's
Can I
somewhat.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
Go ahead, roll again. It gives you advantage, Campbell.
14.
Okay. Yeah, it's legible. It's not the best work you've ever done, but it is legible enough for them to get the idea of what you're saying.
Yeah. So these people have not. I'm saying to Kazzra, like, they haven't been down to the source chamber at all, so they won't be familiar with anything that's past that, including wherever it was we awoken. Do I have that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Assuming that it's still accessible after the earthquakes.
You see Jessamine. Jessamine kind of giggles. Yeah, it was me.
Nice work. You yeah, who knows how accessible it is down there now?
I wonder if maybe it wasn't.
I mean,
before the earthquakes.
Go ahead, X, sorry.
I wonder if maybe it wasn't accessible before the earthquakes.
Could be.
Yeah, Will, you definitely got the sense that the entrance by which you entered from below into the source cavern, what they and all the research notes are terming the source caverns. Mm-hmm. They call the crystals source crystals. As in it is a source of a powerful magic. You definitely get the sense that kind of opening that you managed to get in through was newer.
To clarify here, the sarcophagus chamber led intentionally to the source chamber.
Yes.
But the actual aperture into the source chamber was a relatively, it normally would just be a closed section of wall, and then it opened.
Well, no, actually, sorry, let me correct myself there. It did not lead intentionally to the source chamber. It led somewhere. Oh. It's a very wide cavern system.
Right. But it led into the caverns underneath all of this. And then eventually the cavern led to this. Okay, got it. Understood. Okay.
So, yeah, Bronwyn takes a look at this map and says, and just looks at Jessamine and goes, we need to get Matic. I don't know how stable, and then again she kind of glances at Jessamine, this system still is. We have people that are clearing through for any remaining threats and supplies and everything like that, but I would suggest that we leave this chamber. I don't know how. Someone got a little overexcited. And the gnome shrugs and goes, my magic gets a little wild sometimes. Sorry. I suggest we depart this chamber. I would like to find my brother. He's the leader of our group. We are, again, I don't ask that you trust us, but we're not the evil wizard experimenty type. We are freedom fighters, I guess you'd say. It's a little complicated.
Our friends and options are few, and since your first reaction was not to blast us into oblivion or chop us into bits, and it seems as though those who were here would have graciously done that to us, I have no problems gingerly following you out of this place to somewhere more agreeable.
You hear Jessamine go, ew, mummy bits. Do mummies have bits? Do you have... And then Bronwyn claps her hand right over Jessamine's face as Jessamine is obviously about to ask you if you have genitals. Just... No. Okay, we're going. Let's... She kind of motions you out in front of us and motions you out in front of them and kind of nods to Will on the understanding that you'll both take up the rear.
I hold up a single shriveled finger, grab one more bag, and then just haul all of the components that I can into the bag. Just wipe the shelf. And then now with satchels, feel prepared to leave.
Wizard shit, yeah. So they lead you out through it's kind of like a maze of cavern rooms, but these have obviously been like the passages. The passages are still natural, but definitely like man widened. Like they haven't been like fully nicely carved out or anything, but they have been kind of like sandblasted so that it's a little bit wider to pass through. So you can pass through comfortably, and you can see that there's some offshoot chambers that have bunks and trunks of clothing and supplies, and you can see that there's people of various lineages kind of moving through. There's gnomes, there's humans, there's dwarves, there's elves, there's orcs, there's just a bunch of people, and moving through, like cleaning out supplies, doing sweeps, and they all sort of like kind of nod to Bronwyn, and you get the sense that Bronwyn is definitely kind of, Bronwyn and Jessamine both are a little higher up on whatever command structure that they have. And they will lead you through a last passage where you hear steadily the thunder of a waterfall grows louder and louder. And eventually you're led out into daylight. You can see this is sort of a late afternoon, overcast day, so thankfully it's not too bright on your eyes. But it is, you are emerging from within a damp cliffside. The cliffs are probably about 50 to 100 feet tall. They're tall, but they're not massive. And you can tell that the waterfall comes out from the upper Els River. She shouts over the noise of the waterfall, motions you down. It very gently helps you slowly move down what is a very treacherous passage. It's very slick from the waterfall, and kind of around the cliffside into a small copse of woods, along the line of which wait a series of wagons and sort of like a miniature war camp, essentially. This is sort of there's a wide meadow that sort of leads to this like small copse of woods, like woodland. Not a very big woodland, just like a little bit of clusters of trees here and there. The landscape is it's gentle hills to flat. Everything is sort of that new spring green. There's still a chill to the air. You do remember seeing on the calendar on that desk that it is late Astera. So in player reference, this would be like late April. So it's still fairly early spring. And there's the new shoots of green that are over there. So where you look, everything is just very green. And it is a very big contrast to largely what you've been viewing of like shadow and blue, right? But there's still a freshness in the air, but that last remaining chill crisp of, a winter that just doesn't really want to let go, but eventually will. And the scent of damp earth as though it's rained fairly recently. You can still see the sky is overcast. You see across the meadow, there are piles of bodies being stacked respectfully, but they're being stacked, and then you see someone in golden and white raiment move through, giving sort of last blessings, kind of doing funeral rites, and then lighting each set on fire, as in they're building these pyres. So they are not leaving their enemies. You can tell that the people here are dressed differently as well. There's a lot of martial looking bodies that are in very dark clothing, not fully uniform, but close to a uniform. And then there's a lot of bodies in gray robes that are just sort of utilitarian, woolen research robes that wizards would wear. And these are all being, again, stacked on pyres and lit. So they do not look... give me... Who has passive perception higher than 10? Okay. Great. Pertinax, Jaxiron, and Kazzra will notice that all through the people that you're talking to, nobody is wearing anything that could be termed a uniform. There's nothing uniform about their clothing. Except for one thing, and that is a bit of red cloth somewhere. Some wear it tied around their necks, some wear it tied around their wrists, others have pockets, something tucked into a pocket, but something red that is visible, that signifies, that is some sort of signal between all these folks.
What about the dead? Do they have any kind of badge or marking?
Other than the close to uniformity of their clothing, no.
Okay.
Did we get... I'm assuming we did not get a name for whatever the name of this sort of like ambiguous, we're the good guys, we're the resistance types from Jessamine or Bronwyn. So I asked them as we're walking along, like, if these gesturing to the corpses are the collective, what are you? You said you're some sort of resistance. You're some sort of...
Yep. So you ask this as you approach the sort of where the makeshift little war camp is.
Mm-hmm.
And you hear a deeper timbered male voice behind you state, "We call ourselves the Redeemers." And that is where we will end this episode.
That was episode 2 of The Broken World. Thank you for watching, and join us in 2 weeks for our next episode to find out just who these mysterious Redeemers are, and if they can continue to help us to uncover our past and understand the present. The GM Cellar is producing new content every Friday, so please like, share, subscribe to us. Every view helps, and we hope that you enjoyed watching this content as much as we enjoyed making it. See you next time.